Hey guys, Ruan Ferreira here with Awakening Animations, and welcome to part 2. So I left you guys off with changing some parameters here. So as you can see, I've got like 3 different kind of variations of my plank, which is exactly what we were going for. Um, so yeah, that's about it for these planks. We can position them better if we need to, but let's get started with our posts. Okay, so what we can do with our posts here is just use a basic cylinder. So I'll grab a cylinder, I'll say nothing here, and drop it down to 12 to say, okay. So what we can do as well is bring it up to the ground here, put our origin to 3D cursor. Okay, the 3D cursor is not at the bottom. We could always add the 3D cursor there, or we can just do that to 3D cursor. So now if we scale this guy down, it stays on the floor. Okay, so let's get our width something like so, scale, and let's maybe get this still a bit bigger. Nice thick posts actually, something like that, and let's place it. Cool. So that will be the start. Let's bring it to the side here, something like so. And what we want to do is fill this top face. So we don't need to worry about n-gons or anything like that at the moment. It's not a big deal. Okay, so with that done, we can clear the scale once again, and let's copy our modifiers. So for this, we can go to preferences, add-ons, and make sure copy attributes add-on is enabled. Okay, and here it shows you the shortcut is Control C. Okay, so what we do is we select the first object and then the object we want the modifiers from, Control C, and here we can copy a whole bunch of stuff, color, duplicates, and all sorts of things. Okay, so let's copy selected modifiers, and let's just do the bevel for now. Okay, and the first thing we'll see is that we copy the bevel modifier, but our angle is not correct for this guy since we're getting some bevels along the edges there. Okay, so what we want to do first is bring that angle up. Okay, and that seems good for the cylinder. So maybe for the cylinder as well, we want something slightly bigger. So let's give a nice bigger bevel up there, and that's nice. So now let's go ahead and copy the rest of our guys. So we want the randomize on the bevel, the random Y, and the random Z, which we're going to have to change, and the taper X we're going to have to change, and that we're going to have to change. But anyway, let's get started with that. So what do we see here? Let's go into our modifiers. We've worked on the bevel. Let's put all of these guys off for now. Let's just do with the randomized bevel. Okay, let's have a look what that's doing. So I think for this guy, it's not affecting it too great. So let's create a new texture for it, texture 04. Okay, make sure we're on texture 04, which somehow it is on it. I just want to make sure nothing else changes while I'm playing with this guy. Okay, so that's good. So I want this one to be quite small, so we get some random effect all over. So this n-gon might be problematic at the moment. So what we can do is join it. So let's join these two sides, these two sides, and these two sides. That just leaves us with a quad still to work with and gives us a better deformation on the top. Okay, so perfect. What we also want is some geometry there, and that gives us a nice overall effect on this, but that's not what we want for this guy. So let's do that, and let's only affect these pieces. So vertex group, call this bevel, assign. Okay, and inside here we'll only select the bevel. There we go. Okay, so now we want to enable the Y here, which is good. That gives us some noise along the Y axis, so like this way. And already that's okay. Maybe we can just bring it down a little bit, just a little bit of random effect on it. And now we want the same here, but this guy is not going to be on the Z, but on the X. So let's just change this to X over here, and immediately we should get a result, and we can just play with it to get some effect there. Cool. So there we've got kind of already the post looking nice. We can play with the taper. So the taper here in the X, which this one we don't want. Okay, this guy taper X again. Let's taper it on the Z, and let's see what happens here. So that could be nice. We could have bigger in the top and smaller in the bottom. So let's deal with that. Let's do something like that. Okay, so this guy, we don't need it for our post. It's just stupid. Okay, there we go. So usually we'd mirror this guy across, but in this sense, I'm not going to mirror it. I'm going to make the 3D cursor my scaling point. So if we scale now, it scales from the 3D cursor. Then I'm going to Shift D and scale this on the X minus 1. Okay, and that gives us our mirror. But this guy is going to be weird, so let's fix its normals off the bat. So I just use Shift N while in edit mode. We're not seeing it now, but it will pop up at some moment. And now that we're here, let's play with our taper, bring it a bit down. Let's go to our bevel. Let's make it a little bit stronger. Okay, we could also make another texture and change the scale, and why not? Let's do that. So let's make this one stronger, but bigger size on the noise. Okay, that's stronger. Okay, cool. So we've done that. We can go to the Y displacement. Let's have a look at it from the side here. Let's make this guy go in the opposite direction, something like so. Let's not worry about the texture. You guys can add more variation with the texture if you want. And this is our Z. Let's take it into the opposite direction, and already here we can see it's like it's not the same post. Okay, very stylized, squashed wood for now. And the taper we just changed. So that's about it for our posts here. We've got two different variations, and it's looking quite nice. So I would really love to have UV tools here, UV project here on the bottom. I don't think this is gonna work. No, I really don't. If we have a look at it, so yeah, that's fine. It's a good unwrap, kind of, not really. But once we apply things, that ain't gonna work. So that's just one hassle in this. We're gonna have variations, but we still need to unwrap them differently. The nice thing about it is that since these geometries that we'll duplicate have the same amount of geometry, if we unwrap one and we duplicate it to have a fence, we can just copy the UVs from this one to those ones and then go in the UV editor to move them or to lay them out so that we can have different textures on each, if that's even something you want. Okay, so that's it. We 10 minutes in here, so I'm gonna do the bolts here as well. So the nice thing that we're gonna use for the bolts is we're gonna create vertices So one vertex here, the same way that I did in the start for the planks, but it's going to make more sense here. We'll place the vertex here, array it 3 times, okay, 2 times, and then we'll use those vertices as our points to where our bolts need to be copied to, which there's a really nice feature for something like that. So let's go and model these bolts quickly. I'm gonna hide, or just start with a circle, make it 12. Let's go with 12. Okay, and let's isolate that in local view. So I'm using slash pad. Make this really small to start off with. Okay, so here we go. Let's create our washer. So we'll do something like that. Let's fix our normal straight away and scale this guy in. Okay, so that's our washer. Let's duplicate this part now, scale it out somewhat. Okay, and the first thing I want to do here is grab every second vertex like so and scale it in until it looks somewhat flat. Okay, something like that should be fine. And now we can select that whole loop and bring it up. Okay, extrude it one more time. So we're still going into 3D cursor here, so let's take it back to median points, something like that. And what I want to do here is make this round again. So I'm using loop tools. Once again, for those who don't know, it's just an add-on that makes some things easier. So if we type in loop tools, just enable this guy, and it gives you a nice menu when you right click loop tools, and we can make things back into a circle here and have something like so. So we can do this, make this guy circle too, maybe use like Alt S and take it out, or I don't know, just to have a better looking circular shape there. So it's not perfect, but anyway, we don't even need that loop in there. And that's gonna be it for this guy. I'm not gonna do more than that. We can take him and make him a bit bigger, something like that. Those will be our bolts. Well, that will be our bolts. There we go. So nice bolt looking thing here. And first thing I want to do is place the origin to my selection and set the origin, sorry, place the 3D cursor to my selection and then place the origin to 3D cursor, which it already was, but anyway, better to be sure. So now let's rotate this minus 90 and we got that going for us. So I want this bigger, nice stylized looking thing. Okay, so great, we got our bolt here. Let's name it bolts. Okay, cool. We can add some shading onto it, so shade smooth, drop here, normals, auto smooth. That looks fine. Okay, cool. So now that we've got that, let's create our vertices. So let's create a single vert. There it is. Where you add verts. Got our verts here. Can move it around. Okay, perfect. So I want to place this vertex now. So let's just bring it somewhere there. And we can change this after the fact. For now, let's put it something like that. And are you touching the surface or are you tricking me? Okay, so what we can do is enable quickly the snapping to face and project the individual elements and just snap it onto the face here. Okay, and now we can add an array. So this can be done faster by just duplicating these things and placing them wherever we want, but this is a nice workflow because it can keep things procedural, firstly, and secondly, it can be interesting for a lot of other things that you'd like to do. So here we're placing it up, and it's going into this wooden piece, which is normal, but we can give it some, not offset on the Z, offset on the Y. Where you at? So there we go. We can give it some Y offsets here until it's like on it. And let's see what the third one does. It's going in as well. So anyway, we don't need to use the array. It's just the way to do it. Now we can select these guys and just place them wherever we want, like so, as long as we've got these vertices. Okay, so now that the vertices are there, what we need to do is set their origin. So set origin to geometry. So now we've got that origin there, and we want to set this guy's origin to the vertices origin. So let's put our cursor to selected and put this guy to the cursor. Okay, so it seems like our first bolt is placed kind of, but anyway, we'll see the magic now. So now we can select these vertices here, go into the object tab, instancing, and choose verts. But before we do that, we want to parent this guy to the vertices. So Control P object, and that's it. Now we select that, change this to vertices, and there we go. Cool. So now as we move this vertice, it places our bolt. Even if we rotate this vertice, it should do something, but the vertice is not rotating. Anyway, it's not important. We can just place these guys, hide the original version. But anyway, that's just a nice way of placing things with vertices. So if we now take these vertices and we mirror it across to there. Sorry, I shouldn't have duplicated it like that. We take them all like so, just duplicate it. We can have our other side over here and just edit the vertices to place them well. Okay, so we'll need to place these guys a bit better afterwards, but that's just to get the tip across of copying things to points, which is great if you ask me. Okay, so there we go. And the nice thing about this is as well, each of these bolts here that we've copied are instances, so they're not they're referencing that one bolt we made. Okay, so that's it for our low poly post. In the next tutorial, we're going to copy a bunch of points um, into like a fence system, and then we'll use the whole object and the same system or array along curve and just create a kind of fence. And as well, we'll start by applying things, unwrapping UVs, and preparing for texturing. So I hope you guys enjoyed part 2, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.